Good morning, guys. Thank you for joining us on the Real Producers Beyond the Pages podcast. We're here at the state-of-the-art Groover Labs, and we have Troy Trussell here with Trussell Media recording. And we have our honored guests, our preferred partners, Brian and Mary McGinley with Sierra Pacific Mortgage. So thank you guys for being here. We have a wonderful starting out our day with a dynamic husband-wife team. So that takes a really special two really special humans to be able to live and to work together. So today's topic will be about mortgages, real estate, working with your spouse, a little bit of everything in between. So on that note, you guys, just start us off. Tell us a little bit about yourselves personally, and then we'll kind of get into the business side of things.
Awesome. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, yeah, I mean, we've been married 8 years. Mm-hmm. We met in the business, so we were already both in the business, and I hired her, which was,
another interesting
the
dynamic.
last time I was ever her boss.
There you go.
For
Smart
sure.
man.
Yeah. And it's just kind of been uphill ever since, or down, I don't know, uphill, downhill ever since.
Up and to the right, a positive direction.
Yeah, that's right.
Good trajectory. Yeah, it's been really great. I mean, we're really good at being a married couple in the business because we don't really bring business home. So
that's phenomenal.
Well, we try not to.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of business talk, but we try to really kind of separate that, which is challenging sometimes.
Of course.
Yeah. Very much so.
Not a lot of people can do it. I watched my parents do it well, and it is reserved for the very few. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. It can be a mess if you don't.
Of course. Yeah. So then when you said you were in the business, so were you doing mortgages, Brian?
Yeah, I started, that's the only thing I've ever done.
Okay.
I started 25 years ago, I think.
Nice.
And I didn't even know what a mortgage was, but I wanted a job that I didn't have to go clock in at. So started right away. That was it. And
it turned out well for you.
Yeah.
Good gamble.
Yeah, it's been good. I started out with that and then kind of got into management and stuff. And then as I was growing a smaller team, that was when I met Mary. And how many years ago was that?
Well, I've been in the mortgage business 17, so that was probably 14 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 14 years ago.
So you worked together for some time before there was a spark, before something shifted.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I like that. All right.
Like I said, the last time I got to be her boss.
That's all right. That's okay. So let's, and then Mary, what were you doing then before you were?
I was actually I had a friend of mine get me in the mortgage business. She thought I would be great at it. And I was like, I don't know. I was doing the horse thing. And so I'd worked for a couple other different companies, worked for Feist before.
Okay.
Remember
Phone
Feist?
book.
Yes, exactly. And she's like, I just think you would be such a good fit in this. So I decided to give it a shot. So I did the same thing, jumped in, no experience. It's either one of those, exactly. You either figure it out or you don't. Mm-hmm. So I got lucky, figured it out. It was I started out working for Chase Mortgage and then ended up with Mortgage Center for, several years. And then went on to, we ended up with Envoy.
Yeah.
Yes, Allied Home Mortgage before that. So it's been a couple different companies before we ended up with Sierra Pacific. So
and that's pretty typical.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I just absolutely love it.
That's good. Well, and you can tell, especially with the longevity. Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't stay in something if someone was miserable or they weren't enjoying it or they weren't making money.
Right.
So real quick, then why Sierra Pacific?
Oh, wow. Okay, there's a lot of reasons, truthfully, and I can go on forever.
Well, we only have 30 minutes right now.
I can go on. It really is. So one of the things that we go through in the industry is cycles, and we're in a bad cycle right now. This industry is really tough right now.
Right.
And if the parent company that you're with isn't strong and tested, then you're not going to be able. You're not going to have employment. And I've been to 3 companies in my career, and one of those companies. I walked in one day and they were closed, and it was because they weren't doing things right. So when your parent company is not manning the ship and they're not strong and they don't have the vision to see the longevity that's required to be successful in this, then you're without.
Sure.
Yeah, you're just lost. So after that first company closed, that was Allied Home Mortgage, and we had a great run with them for a long time. We just didn't realize what was going on at corporate. So when they closed, my branches locally had done really, really well with them. So I immediately jumped ship to another company called Envoy. And when we got in there, it was kind of a panic move. And Envoy was very techie, and they had a lot of bells and whistles, but they also really were not good at execution. So our customer service started to slip. So I spent about a year looking for a company, and I found Sierra Pacific 9 years ago, and it's pushing 9. I think it's 9 in November. And it was really thought out and planned out based around strength. And right now in this market, it's paying off because we are very strong. And that's something that I can sleep well at night over. And if you don't have that, it's a real problem. So it was the best decision I made from really a bad situation, because we had to find a new home through Envoy. So at the end of the day, we're here and we're very happy with it. Yeah.
That's wonderful. And you kind of answered one of my questions that's farther on down the paper.
I know, yeah.
It's beautiful that it seemed to be an apparent failure at that point, and it happened to be the best blessing for you.
Yeah.
It's given you this longevity.
Yeah, and it was a situation where it wasn't panicked. I was taking my time. I talked about 8 different companies. There's, they're not franchises, but for lack of a better word, they're kind of like a franchise. Sure. And so you go out and you look at each one individually, and they all have their, there's a lot of great companies out there, and there's a lot of them that are doing very, very well, even in a bad market. But there's certain ones that are a fit. And for me, it was only about strength. And our company's 35 years old. We did 2008 better than any company.
Yep.
There was only
a
few that made it through.
Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so when I see that and the leadership, one individual, his name is Jim Cafrini, he's the owner. When I see him navigate these things, it just is the comfort that we need, that we know we can keep doing what we need to do in the market we're in and delivering the service that we're in. If you don't have that behind you, it's your reputation on the line.
Right.
So yeah, it turned out really, really well. It was the best decision I could have ever made for the entire team. And since we've done that, our growth has been just astronomical. It really has.
Good. Yeah. That's wonderful. That is really comforting, knowing that you've got a really strong infrastructure behind you, so you can just keep showing up to work every day.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And just make your realtors happy, keep closing homes.
Yeah. Keep your loan officers and your staff employed, and
That's
everybody.
Right.
Nobody has to worry about that day in and day out. And it's unique in this industry. It's very cyclical, and companies kind of fly in and fly out quickly. They ride those waves, and it's just really a tough situation if you're in that.
Yeah, I can imagine that'd be pretty miserable. Yeah. Okay, good. Well, what does a typical day look like for you guys?
Well, it kind of looks different for both of us because of our different roles. So I am a loan officer, and so my office is in Augusta. And so his is actually, here in Wichita.
Okay.
So mine is just going into the office. I am right next to a real estate company in Augusta. So
and you can say who that is.
Exactly.
We love them.
Yes,
we
Suddeth Realty.
Yeah.
Yes,
we love
and
Suddeth.
And so we start in there. It's basically just getting caught up on emails from past 9 o'clock because you're working all the time. But just getting caught up on that, doing pre-approvals, cost estimates, you do several of those a day. The market, like we've talked about, it's pretty chaotic right now. So it's just things are changing daily in our business right now.
What are you seeing aside from interest rates? What are you seeing what do you mean when you say things are changing?
Well, mainly rates.
Negotiations are tough. Yeah. Rates are obviously driving buyers out of the market.
Right.
Having to figure out creative ways to keep them, it a possibility for them. So we're education, a lot of things around just keeping people focused on what is important. Obviously, home ownership. And we're in the shelter business, right? So providing an avenue for that is tougher than it was when rates were really, really low and houses were readily available. It's still the same need, if not more, because there's a lot of like pent up buyer energy. They want to buy.
Yes.
Right.
And so we've got to figure out how to solve those puzzles, every one of them. And they all are individually, no matter really what price range they're in. It's still the same conversation with all of them. How do we make this feasible for you to accomplish your goal?
Yeah, with the right rate. And maybe that's not buying right now. Maybe that's improving credit or...
Yeah, and it's a lot of updating because you have people who, qualified 4 months ago when rates were low, and then you may not qualify right now for as much. So it's just a lot of constant updating pipelines. So...
Yeah.
Making sure
juggling a lot of balls.
Good.
I would imagine you would need a whiteboard like about that size.
Yeah.
Keep track of where everybody is in the process.
Exactly.
Okay.
But your day looks a lot different.
Yeah.
What does your day look like?
So I wear 2 hats. Okay. So I'm the owner of a handful of branches for Sierra Pacific in Kansas, Missouri, Texas, Colorado. So in addition to that, so that's this daily branch manager type roles.
Okay.
That's where I'm basically making sure that everybody has what they need to do their job. Mary, from a loan officer to the processors to the closers, all that stuff. But then I'm also a divisional vice president for the company, which gives me the company's divided into 3 different sections. You got East, West, and Midwest. And I'm the Midwest divisional manager. So that's about 20 states where I'm in charge of any existing branches, but also growth, recruitment, retaining, making sure that those are all individually successful. And the reason that I'm doing that is the industry has a huge appetite to be in the Midwest. The entire
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
The loans perform. If you're the owner of the company, Jim Cafrini, I'll use him as an example. You want a bunch of loans in your servicing book in the Midwest because they're more solid borrowers. They pay better. The cycle of the values increasing or decreasing are not near as dramatic as they are on the coast. So even though Jim's based out of Folsom, California, he's really focusing on growth out here because it's just much safer growth. We go through cycles, but we don't do these massive waves. Right. I mean, even in 2008, it was a little tough, but it was nothing like it was in different markets. So that consistency is important. So our company and East Coast is kind of the same thing, although it's a little bit more stable. Our company really looks for those opportunities here. So I'm on the road a lot, and I'm talking to people a lot about the opportunity that we have for them. So I've got a great group in Tennessee right now that's just really doing great. And the markets match up to like a Wichita. So we can see that if there's a market out there that is similar to what we have created in Wichita, we want to go share that with them, show that to them so they can, obviously become a part of the team because we're bringing a big value to them as well. So my job is based around, it's way different than it used to be in the last couple of years. It's just continually kind of evolved into that. And so, but I love that opportunity for growth and just career development's wonderful, but the opportunity to be able to give them what we have to offer is pretty cool.
That is. See, and I visited with you guys a handful of times, but I didn't even know that exact role and all the different hats that you wear. So
I try to be more local here because this is everything.
Yeah.
I built this from the very beginning, and it's just gotten better and better. And my team here is just heart and soul. Like I could never just step away.
Some amazing people on your team.
Yeah, we do. And I have awesome. It's given me the other part of this that's really cool is that it's given me the opportunity to create growth and opportunity for people on that team to be leaders. I've got just wonderful Michelle, Lauren, all these wonderful people, Ryan in Kansas City. They all deserve that too. So they've gotten an opportunity to really grow through this. And without them, I couldn't do what I'm doing. Sure. So it's just kind of one big collective move onward and upward.
That cliche saying is not so cliche when it actually applies. That if you help enough people get what they want, you absolutely receive what you've been needing.
Absolutely,
yeah. It's cool to see that actually come to fruition.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. So, craziest closing story. I know you've got some juicy ones.
We were talking about that. Believe it or not, like I personally don't have that many. Other than I had a refinance one time that anytime you do a refinance, there's what they call a 3-day right of rescission.
Okay.
Where you have basically 3 days to say, yes, I still want to move forward with this, or no, I don't.
Okay.
And this was for a husband and wife. And in that 3 days, they got divorced. So they were like, nope, we're not going to go forward with this. So,
and they wanted to figure out how to get one of them off the loan or something.
Oh, yes.
One to buy, two to sell.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, but that isn't that crazy. But I do have a good friend of mine in the business that had the craziest. She had a guy at the closing table that had an aversion to blue ink.
And sign with blue ink.
You have to sign with blue ink.
Right.
And so he refused. He said, I cannot do it. I cannot hold a pen that has blue ink. So
there you go.
That man needs some medication to get through.
They had to take it up the chain, and he ended up having to sign. They let him use black ink, and then they had to go back underneath him, and the closer had to sign in blue ink under every one of his signatures so they could tell it was an original document.
Wow, I know that wet ink is important for closing.
Exactly, yeah.
That is.
So, yeah, but that was not mine. That happened to a good friend of mine in the business.
That's entertaining. See, that's the stuff I love.
Exactly.
Because it's past, it's over, it didn't happen to you. You can laugh about it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's countless stories of of blow-ups where the sellers can't be in the room with the buyers and all that stuff. And there's always tension between,
the drama.
Yeah, the lender's always getting thrown in that. Like it's a constant thing, But that's
I couldn't imagine if they showed up. I mean, typically a realtor, who's co-oping, they can be on the same page and they understand that clients are being difficult, maybe one side or both sides, and they can laugh about it before and after closing. But I couldn't imagine walking in where like this side is completely, hating this side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it happens.
It's tough. Yeah.
Sometimes, you have to act as liaisons in those.
And they talk to us a lot. They tell us a lot. Like,
I bet you get all the juices.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just have to remain Switzerland.
That's right.
There's only one thing that's important. It's walking away from this table.
I know.
Yeah.
Everybody
different ownership.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. I like that. So what is your 5-year goal in Wichita specifically for Sierra Pacific?
I think for Wichita, it's maintaining, it's growing appropriately, but not just to grow. That's very critical. We look at it as though we want to have the best in the business available, the best in the business employed, and we want to keep those people employed, good customer service, just more solid participation in the community. In other markets, it's different because we have, again, this is our hub. This is where we're making it happen. And so we really protect that very, very closely. We won't just hire anybody, but we want to grow. If it's a great partnership and somebody that would fit in with our we really have a very big family dynamic. We do. And it's very important. And our Christmas parties are awesome. But yeah, right? Yeah.
Troy knows.
Troy went to one, yeah.
Well, I want to know now.
Yeah. But we really, I think for that, it's just maintaining and making sure that we're representing and delivering the best every single day for this group, because we really have what we want here. And we want to just continue to be a big part of the community.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, you do. You have some amazing rock stars within that Sierra Pacific family. And
what's really cool
very well
about
loved.
that, thank you. What's very cool about that, and what has been the biggest benefit, is we've been able to take a lot of rookies into the business and put them under the wing of these top leaders and give them an opportunity that you wouldn't get to do if you didn't have that type of leadership.
Right.
Because there's only so much bandwidth for one person, right? But when we have teams of leaders, and then we have people that have came in as a rookie that are now to the point where they want to start mentoring somebody else. And this business isn't for everybody, but it definitely, if you have that type of leadership, you got a big advantage.
Yeah.
So we've been doing that for a very long time, which has created growth opportunities for the leaders. They're a loan officer, now they're a sales manager, now they're becoming a branch manager. It's all that, but it's all because of the quality of the leadership that they can offer.
That's really neat. I mean, you literally have given them a job and they've been able to run with that and make that into a career.
Yeah.
Like what you guys, you happened into this.
We got awesome people that weren't sure what they were going to do, just like we weren't 20 some odd years ago. And here they are, they're just killing it.
Yeah. That's really cool to see. I know that's got to be satisfying, especially for someone that does care and has the aptitude for career development.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been wonderful.
All right. So what is an unusual habit or an absurd thing that you guys love? I know you mentioned horses. I know there's land.
Yes. Yeah. So that's kind of our, or at least my second job. Yeah. We breed cutting horses, and I show them as well too. Okay. So yeah.
What does cutting horses? Okay. Obsession. That's all right.
It's an obsession.
That's fine. It's a healthy obsession.
And our daughter has the same obsession.
Yes.
There you go. That's why you got to keep working, Dad.
Because that's right. Yeah.
So for us city girls that love horses but know nothing about them, what does a cutting horse mean?
So a cutting horse is where you actually have like a herd of, like when I show, you have a herd of cattle at one end of the arena, and you walk your horse in, and you have 2.5 minutes to ideally cut out 3 cattle at different times.
Kind of pull one away from the herd.
And so it's just how
keep
well
it away from the
the
herd.
horse rates that cow. And so you're scored on how well your horse does with that.
The cow wants to get back to the herd, and the horse wants to stop it.
Kind of hard to explain.
Okay, this is interesting. Fun. Are you allowed to use the dogs?
No.
I feel like those dogs are amazing. I've seen them all over TikTok. Yes. They are some smart dogs.
Our daughter has one that is a nightmare. Border collie. But she's the
wicked
smartest dog.
Yes, so smart.
And constantly just works around the pen, just running in circles. It's pretty funny.
That sounds like a really awesome life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's fun. We breed. Well, we had 4 babies this year. So,
wow.
So yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun.
I bet.
You say absurd, but it is cool. I mean, it's an obsession for sure.
It's neat. Well,
I didn't know anything about it.
So.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
I didn't know anything about it, and I didn't know what I was getting into, but it's turned out to be fun.
Do you ride at all, Brian?
I mean, I can and I do, but I don't. I've only done this cutting thing a couple times, and I definitely don't compete. It's completely her deal.
You watch The Rockstar?
I do.
Yeah, she's the expert at this.
Yeah.
That is really cool.
He's learned a lot, though.
I do have a cowboy hat, though.
There you go.
There you
See,
go.
I mean, I've got a hat and the boots. You at least have to look the
Yeah,
part.
right.
Especially when you're supporting the wife.
Right.
Yes,
There you go.
Okay, I like that. Wait, so then what's your unusual habit or something absurd that you love or enjoy? Like crocheting, anything crazy like that?
I can't tell him it's not a habit, but you do. He does have an unusual.
I'm 40. No,
skill.
we're not. No. I'm 49 years old. I ride like electric skateboards, one wheels. I do things that 49-year-old guys probably should.
You're a
do.
skater
Still
at
thinks
heart.
he's 18.
Yeah.
But do you at least like
Motorcycles,
pad up
I like that
and
stuff.
like
No.
No, I got a bunch
he
of
probably has
stitches
a
on my
scar.
arm just a week, or I don't know, a few months ago because I was just being
all right.
silly.
young at heart?
Yeah, so maybe that's it. Probably.
No, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's really good because that's keeping your balance, and that's going to be
There you go.
a skill that needs to transfer
That's
into
right.
The next couple of decades.
Yeah.
So just don't break anything,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
He's
I
She's
just,
too busy with horses.
Exactly.
She can't be
Yes.
carting you around.
He surfs, wakeboards, does all.
I
the
like
crazy stuff.
to do.
That's cool.
Yeah, I feel like I'm still 18.
That's okay. You should
thinks
continue
he
to
is.
live like
Yeah.
that as long
Okay.
as your body,
Let's go.
as long as your body's saying okay.
Which it may not be
Okay.
anymore.
So, and we kind of touched on this a little bit, but you use the word chaotic to describe our market, or are you changing daily? Do you want to expand on that, or how else would you describe our market right now? Because you guys are really on the front lines. You are dealing with mortgages from dozens and dozens of different realtors, whereas a realtor, I ask them, they're only in their one lane with their one sphere of influence. So you guys have a little bit better of an idea, I believe, as far as the market temperature. So tell me about that.
So one of the things that's happening rapidly with the economy and everything, rates are moving quickly. And when rates move quickly, there's something that happens to the mortgage-backed securities where there is it's margin compression. And what margin is anytime we do a loan, if there's no fees associated with that loan, there's money that's earned for the margin, for the profit of the loan, just on the interest rate alone. Okay, so maybe 5%. If the 5% interest rate is available, that pays the bills, the commissions, it pays everything that is generated in the industry. Well, when margin compression happens, the rates move so quickly, Wall Street doesn't know what the value of a mortgage is. So now all of a sudden you see a lot of points and a lot of fees associated with the loan. So even though the rates are going up, they're 7% today.
Now it's even more expensive.
Yes.
You can just get the loan.
So 7%, and now you got points on top of it because 7% is not even a valuable loan to sell to Wall Street. So therefore, you've got this additional points on top. And in the 80s, we hear stories about rates being 14, 17%, something like that. And you were paying 4 or 5 points to get those loans. And that's because of margin compression back then. It was a different thing back then, but it's still, same thing applies. And that's kind of happening to the industry now, the rapid upward movement. So I don't know, 9-10 months ago, rates were 3.
Yeah.
And now they're
Such a
7.
shock.
But not only that, they were 3 with margin. So you weren't paying any points to get 3 or
They
even
were just
2.5.
cheap.
Yeah.
Yep. And so that snap reaction with what's going on with everything in the economy is making, it's not just a higher rate, it's the cost associated with getting the loan. So that's causing problems too, because you have a market where sellers, I don't know, is it a seller's market? You're more in the real estate world.
Yeah,
People say it is, it isn't.
I think that it is still a seller's market. I was speaking with Stanley Longhofer, the professor at WSU, and it's going to take several years for it to be balanced. And he didn't like the word normalized. It was more balanced.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and again, it's cyclical. There's been times where it's been a buyer's market in Wichita. I can remember that.
Yeah.
So
if you have a seller's market with these extra fees to get the loan, and the sellers are not in a seller's market, they're not usually willing to pay as many seller concessions.
That's right. They haven't been. Not in the last 2 years. Sellers are not used to doing this.
So we kind of got like a trifecta of issues that we have to, and that's back to the problem solving. Like, how do we get from here to there? And because it's cyclical, there's a lot of opportunity to put people in a better financial situation in the future, but they still have to get over the hurdle today. And we all know that whether you're buying or you're renting, the cost is going up.
Right.
So our ability to solve those problems is kind of even more valuable today than when it was easy back, and there's been other times. There was a time, it was 18, 17, 18. We went through this, but it was a blip of about 3 months. We felt this kind of same margin compression, same kind of pain. The rates didn't climb quite as much, and it didn't last as long. So this one's kind of been more of a slow bleed where it's correcting, it keeps climbing. But eventually what's cool or what's
inevitable,
comforting is it'll settle.
Mm-hmm.
Margin will come back into the loans, and you won't see the rates. Well, no matter what the rate is, you won't see the fees associated with the loan. And so that'll give more normalcy to it. And obviously with housing availability and everything, that'll obviously normalize it as well. Sorry.
Very good.
So there's a lot going on there that's behind the scenes. People don't understand that. And
no, we don't. We don't hear that. You never hear that, even in just the national media, which is a horrible thing to be watching right now if you're concerned about local real estate. Yeah. Because national is not local. But that's something that we're not hearing.
And I want to say something too about that. When I look nationally at our company, we trend. You doing all right?
Of course it hits, right, when you're on microphone. Yeah. That's how it always happens.
We go through, we watch every company, we watch every market, and we have an analytics team that looks at all of this stuff. And the Midwest is just killing it over everybody else. I mean, there's way more business happening, way more positive market.
That's so encouraging.
Many. It is
good for us.
Everybody that sits in this market should feel very, very blessed, just the dirt we're on, because it really, truly is still moving and happening and everything else. I have a friend in Irvine, California, and it's not the same thing. Sure. My friend in Las Vegas is not the same thing. Yeah. The guys out in Miami and stuff, it's definitely not going to be, the same ride for them, but it'll settle all across the country. Does. We just are in a better position than people realize. So definitely, and I tell the loan officers too, do not look at the local national
Stanley
media.
Longhofer tells you, do not watch that.
Don't.
No, it's not happening.
Our local agents need to rewrite. And so it's with anyone in the ancillary business of real estate, especially you guys, we have the opportunity to rewrite the narrative for our Wichita market, because the national news is scaring sellers and it is scaring buyers, and it's taking money out of people's pockets.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not happening here, and we're good. And we just need to keep that focus going. And the problems are there. You've got to solve them, but they're solvable still.
Right. That's encouraging.
Yeah.
Well, that's the best news. I know we're only at 9:00 a.m., but that's the best news I've heard all day, Brian.
Good.
Thank you. I hope everyone hears that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we are starting to wind down, but let's ask just a couple of fun questions. If you had a gigantic billboard in Wichita, what would it say and why?
I got to say, promises made, promises kept. That is our company logo. And I truly, cool. we work towards that. We make that part of our daily activities, and we just would definitely, it would be up there for sure. Yeah.
I like that. Okay. Yeah. That's beautiful. What is some advice, and we touched maybe a little bit on this, but for someone that's looking to get into this business, or they think that they'd rather do this maybe than being a realtor, or they just want a complete career change, what advice would you give to somebody that is interested in becoming a loan officer, working mortgages?
I honestly think it is mentorship. You got to have a good leader and somebody that is going to really put their energy into you. If you don't have that and you're just on an island, this is a very difficult industry. It's not for everybody.
Yeah. Every loan is different, I'm sure.
And you said, I kind of went into it blind years ago. I don't feel like you can really do that today.
These days, yeah.
And you had there was a great core group of people, especially at Mortgage Center. That was a great company. Those guys were really good. And I think if you don't have those type of leaders in your career, you're not going to
last.
No, and that's a trick too, because not everybody wants to be a leader, because you technically are training your competition, just like in real estate.
Essentially,
I'm sure.
Yes, yeah. But then it comes back to your mindset,
right?
The abundance versus scarcity. And if you're a good person, I know you've got best friends in the industry. There is enough business for everybody.
Yeah, there is definitely.
You got to
support. Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I like that. What is some bad advice that you hear in your industry? Or some things that, a myth that people shouldn't believe.
The thing that gets in the way a lot is when borrowers are told to go shop multiple lenders. And because what it does is you're delaying the approval. You're looking at, now, if you don't trust the person you're working with, obviously you need to shop multiple lenders, but you really should make sure that you know and trust the company that you're with, and then just stick with them. Because in the industry for mortgages, there's LO comp rule that does not allow a loan officer to make more money by charging you more fees or charging you a higher interest rate. So the loan officer is getting paid exactly the same no matter. It's kind of like the car dealer,
that's
right?
That's interesting. Yeah, that's a good thing for people to know, because it's opposite of realtors.
Yeah, and a lot of times I think they look at it as though, well, they're trying to gouge you because they're trying to make money on you, and that's not the case. So the industry, the market sets the rates. The company has we have responsibility to keep the margin competitive and slim, but the loan officers, the branches, they don't profit based on the interest rate or the charge, the effect to the borrower. We profit on the volume, how much we can do, how many customers we can service, how efficient we are at doing that job. So that's kind of a myth. And then obviously internet-based lenders are just absolutely, I know,
dangerous. Could be very dangerous.
They can be, yeah. And we had a consumer direct division we have a consumer direct division in our company, and it is made up of good people. But it is not the same experience when you're working with a local person that's invested in the community.
Financing.
Yeah,
exactly.
We can call the bad ones out.
Yeah, we want to see. We want to see you guys.
Sure.
Yes,
the Z word, the cuss word in real estate.
We want to see these people in our community and high five them and be happy that we're
and you want them to come back to you next time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
and they want to be able to talk to the same person every time they call.
That's right.
So.
They'll definitely have that trust. If you did a good job for them this time, in 10 years, it's a no-brainer.
Somebody that cares every time. Yeah, that's what it's about.
Okay.
And we're doing loans. Ron, that works for us in our office, he's been with me from day one. Ron and Peggy both have.
Okay.
He's doing loans for grandkids of people he's done loans for, and just multiple loans just forever. And he'll never be able to retire because his phone always rings from people that every now and then want to refinance.
Exactly.
He better have a son or a grandson that wants to be in the business. That's all I can say.
That's a good thing.
Buy that phone number.
Yeah,
that's cool. I've learned some things. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
See, this is why we do these things. We get to learn a lot more. Okay, so just a quick little round of would you rather, and then we'll wrap it up. So would you rather forget your partner's birthday or your anniversary?
Birthday.
Oh my God. Birthday.
Okay, so anniversary is more important.
Yeah.
Okay. When is your anniversary?
The 14th.
There you go.
Of May.
June.
I think Troy also got nervous. I'm sorry.
I know.
We love you. We're just having fun. It's okay.
June 14, I know that.
There you go.
I like it. 6, 14, 14. Okay. Yeah. Would you rather lose the ability to read or write?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Would you rather be in jail for a year or lose a year of your life?
Lose a year of my life. I would go insane in jail.
Okay. I would rather be in jail.
Okay.
Because you would bring me like.
So you that's an assumption.
Depending on what you did. Yeah.
She might have put No, I mean, I suppose.
That is crazy.
I suppose if you were in jail, you would be in really good shape. You would have read a ton of books.
Yeah.
Well, that's true.
You'd probably be on a really good sleeping schedule. I mean, just looking at, there's always a silver lining. But that's okay.
I can't stand to be cooped up. So
Yes, I know. There's no horses
very
in jail.
Claustrophobic.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, your horses could come break you up. Would you rather spend the rest of your life on a sailboat or an RV as your home?
Absolute boat.
RV.
Okay.
Really?
Because you could pull the horse
trailer.
Pull the horse
trailer, yeah.
Got to think about
I love
things.
it. No, that's good. That's
sailboat,
why we do that.
That's an easy one for me.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
A sailboat parked next to the RV.
There
you
go. Exactly.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I know you're crazy busy. Thank you for just being a guest and participating. And we'll get this out and you guys can share that and we will talk to you later.
Super fun.
Okay.
Thank you
guys.
Thank you.
All right.